The song was written in Portage la Prairie, and we were really trying to find our sound and just learn how to write songs. Writing songs was a big mystery to us back then. I think we all believed that inspiration would fall out of the sky and kind of hit us like a sledgehammer in the head. And so we weren't the most prolific bunch of guys, but we were always trying to write. And then we take the songs back to Bill, and Bill was kind of the quality control. His argument was that he had to sell the stuff, so he had to like the stuff, which kind of made sense. So by the time we were playing Breaking Loose and all these songs off the first two albums in the bars, we had finally gone to an all-original show, and we started bombing. People didn't want to hear original music. They wanted to hear us play our Beatles medley. So we had to, for a short while, go back to playing cover songs and original stuff, so we didn't go bankrupt. And then a little bit of time after this second album and the release of Breaking Loose, we eventually got signed to Capitol EMI. So persistence pays off, kids, don't forget. And the song Breaking Loose wasn't where we ended up, it's where we started, and it's part of Helix's history. The second album, White Lace and Black Leather, like our first independent album, Breaking Loose, was recorded at Springfield Sound just outside London, Ontario, and that studio was really an old renovated schoolhouse, and we lived right at the studio. They had bunk beds and stuff, and we stayed there and recorded the album, kind of like the Spinal Tap movie, where every band writes a song about money because money's foremost on every young musician's mind when they're starving. Same thing for Breaking Loose and songs like that. They talked about breaking out of the bars and just breaking away on a weekend and getting away. And we always identified with those blue-collar members of the audience. That was our following. People who worked in factories and in farms and in small towns. And we sold a lot of these albums, these first two indie albums, Breaking Loose and White Lace, Black Leather. And they led to us eventually being signed to Capitol EMI, to a worldwide U.S. deal. Leo Nebedek and Mike Uselak were quite different characters from the players that preceded them. Leo was from Toronto, or Toronto, as I like to call it. And he'd say I was from Listowel, Ontario. Leo was a big Polish guy, and he was a rabble-rouser for sure. And Mike Uselak, Mike was a red-haired kid who was 17 when he joined the band, and we didn't really realize it. And what happened was we needed a bass player right away. Bert was leaving, and this red-haired kid came out and auditioned for us in the middle of a snowstorm out somewhere in the peninsula. And he ended up getting the gig. After we gave him the gig, I found out he was kind of a heavy drug user. And he told me the first time he did amphetamines, he did 28. I said, Mike, why would you do 28 amphetamines at once if you've never tried them before? His answer,
I want to live right here, where it's most uncomfortable, the parking lot in Thunder Bay, Landmark Inn. Bye.
I don't know, that's kind of pretzel logic, as I think some band would say. But Mike was heavily involved in drugs, and then he quit the band and became a born-again Christian. And from there, I don't know, I think he fell off the wagon, and then he was in Toronto, and then his family couldn't find him. That's a whole story in itself. But anyway, those are the two guys, Leo Nebedek and Mike Uselak. Leo's in Toronto now. I see him every now and then. It's always good to see Leo. We're still in good terms. We're still in good terms with Mike, too. But the song Breaking Loose was written in Portage la Prairie at the Albion Hotel, and it ended up at our second album. And by that time, Brian Durner, who was on the first album, had left and had been replaced by Leo Nebedek. And Bert Zubrick had left the band. That was our bass player, to be replaced by Mike Uzelak. And that made a big difference in our sound right there, especially with Mike. Mike was an excellent bass player and a songwriter as well. Unfortunately, he did a lot of drugs and eventually dropped out and became a born-again Christian. And then he went from there and he fell off the wagon, and I think he lives in Hamilton somewhere. That's a long and winding story. The following film clips are from the time period around the release of Breaking Loose, the song. And the first film is from Amarillo College in Jackson Street Live. We played down there for a guy named Chris Johnson. He was the program director, heavy support of the band. And this was our first tour of Texas, and it was quite the experience for us. Back home, we were treated like stars because we'd been not only to the States, but we'd been on TV, and we got our first interview with Bob McIntyre of Global News out of that tour. After the live footage from Jackson Street Live, I have some previously unreleased film of us in Lethbridge, Alberta at the Alec Arms, where we had a rabid following. And it's of Leo on mushrooms. Leo and I did mushrooms that night, and we went down to the coulees, which are the semi-desert type of hills underneath that surround Lethbridge, and canyons, and we went down there underneath the world's longest railway trestle and sat there doing mushrooms, and we came back, and here's the resulting film. The other film of Mike Uzelak is us in the rooms at the Windsor in Red Deer, Alberta, and there was no TV or no type of entertainment, so we sit around all day long amusing ourselves. And in the first one, we wrote a song about Red Deer. And we're going, Billy, Billy, why did you sell this here? Bill Sipe was our manager. But just goes to show you funny things we did on the road. And even though that film's bad, it's pretty funny. Anyway, watch and enjoy. Hope you like it.
Hi y'all, this is Dallas, Texas. We're going to kick ass tonight.
You feel the liquor, you're feeling me. You got to blow up a Really, but I was just pissed off and I go, why? Because he yelled at me, right? When he was doing it, he was supposed to have the fucking light in front of you for the fire is hot, and he was doing it while we were getting ready to go up on stage and we're getting ready to play. I said, fuck, you're supposed to do that during the break for fuck's sakes. He says, fuck, fucking